They're live, boys.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Spec-D Round 2 and 3 review with the judges live stream here on the Spec-D Drifting Series YouTube. Of course, going live, possible made by Mr. Electric Media, running the switchboards, running the microphones in the background, and doing a heck of a job while doing it. I am, of course, Spec-D TK, Tony Kosh, the voice of Spec-D, joining you here with just voice, no video, but on video and in the call today, we will have our Spec-D judges, Mr. Sean Hardham, Mr. John Bernstead, and Alex Chavez will be joining us a little bit later in the stream. So we'll be going over some of the hot topics from a very hot and grueling weekend out in Mission Raceway. Be looking at some of the calls that occurred and providing some further explanation for some of the calls that were made. So we're asking if you are watching live in our YouTube, get vocal with us, ask some questions. Now's the time. It's like herding cats with these judges, getting them all in the same place at one time. But hey, we got them here for your benefit, for the purpose of growing the sport and just providing some feedback. So, Sean, we'll start with you. Obviously, a huge feat to pull off 2 rounds in the heat there in Mission Raceway. We saw, a fantastic event Friday, an even better one Saturday. I think everybody left with a little bit of sunstroke and some sunburn. What'd you make as the weekend of a whole, Sean?
I'm just going to ask her, is anybody else getting the feedback from the stream, or is it only me?
I can't figure out where it would be coming
John,
from.
are you getting it?
No. So just hover over the live stream and then right click and hit mute.
Do that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
And away we go.
I'm hearing it still here too. I'm not sure where it's coming from at this point. There we go. I've got 1,000 tabs open here trying to organize my life digitally. It's not easy.
I think that's the fun part about doing stuff live is obviously,
hiccups.
Things
happen. You hear us twice. Good. So nice
Please
we're twice.
You don't mind. I just thought I was losing my mind there and hearing in seconds. And I know I can't carry any type of train of thought if I'm hearing that.
That's the worst part. First off, I have headphones on, so I'm only isolated to you guys, and everything else is still playing out through speakers. So.
Yeah, I might just start another YouTube live just so we can have a 5-second delay.
Well, we're good now.
Do that so we hear everything 5 seconds. All right. Well, hey, Tony, you asked what I thought the weekend was like. First of all, yes, challenging conditions, definitely hot. We could certainly see it in our team. After setting up on Thursday night, I think most people were, extremely, dehydrated or just overwhelmed with the heat. And then we went right into Friday, where Friday track is actually probably the more challenging for staff-wise as anything else. There's absolutely no shade on the track at all. You're standing on a drag strip with track temps hitting probably easy the 50-degree mark, and you're out there for 10, 12 hours as we get through the day. So huge shout out to the team. Sean Switzer, you see him there on the little live. The guy in the red shirt just absolutely getting baked. We put a tent there that did absolutely nothing for him for the entirety of the day. So the tent was there just to show that we cared, but it didn't do anything for him. Love you, Sean. That's how we do it. Media as well. All-Star Troopers out in the middle in the dry wasteland that we call it, in the middle of the track. No reprieve, no escape from that. And at least we felt decent as the judges in the shade. Yeah, I think the feat of doing it back-to-back was really challenging, but also really rewarding. Drivers got to come, spend one fee of the whole weekend, and maybe just cut some of the traveling costs that are already there. Did really only lose 2 cars and only 1 driver, because Justin Dubé, as we'll see later on, he lost his car on Friday. Able to borrow one of the staff's cars to run on Saturday. A huge step to Lane Weber for lending out his car that he just came to have some fun with. It actually went really well in the pro competition on the Saturday. Other than that, just great venue, great driving. We really see of the driving if you go back and you watch some of the stream on Mission Raceway's YouTube from a few years back when we ran this layout. You can see how much more committed, how much more speed the drivers are carrying into this course, and just better tandems all around. So for me, it was a win, and can't wait to be out on the track again with doing drifty things with my friends.
Definitely, John, couldn't agree more. I think definitely the doubleheader is the way to go at Mission. It's it's very nice to have your usual Friday qualify, Saturday battles, but I think using both sides of their great road course out there really made two back-to-back events that were just crazy and super fun to call. And I think we'll go to John Burnstead with this one. One of the things I was talking about as we headed in to this weekend, on Friday, kind of looked at it and I was like, we kind of need something big to happen Friday just to make that points race on Saturday just maybe that little bit more compelling. Matt Rusecki came in with a pretty big lead, and John, I'm kind of jinxing myself for that because I think we witnessed probably one of the craziest rounds in Spec-D history in my recent memory, anyways, on Friday. What was your kind of takeaway from Friday, and then how did that set up Saturday?
Oh man, Friday there was a lot of drama there Friday between D Beads and Dubé going into the wall hard there. That was quite scary to see the car kind of pitch up into the air after hitting the K rail so hard. And I don't know, to be honest, for years I always thought Friday's layout was the best layout, and Sean's always argued that Saturday's layout's the best layout. And it was really, really nice to see both layouts in the same weekend. And unfortunately, I think Sean might be right, as he usually is. But all in all, I think between the heat and everything, it was worth it. It was one of my favorite weekends, judging drifting, being with the guys in the pits, and I really enjoyed it. And just the good vibes, and everybody was always in a good spirit. Even when guys were questioning the calls that didn't go their way, they were not getting upset about it. They were just kind of questioning it to figure out what was going on, and I really did enjoy it. So it was a great weekend.
Yeah, I think to add on that too, I think we saw another level of professionalism from the teams this go around at it. Just maybe a call didn't go their way, but nobody actually staged a protest. Nobody actually came up to the judges' tower too angry from what I could see. So that was really nice to see from the crew there.
And like speaking of crew members there, Tony, like just the way everybody worked for each other in the pits. Like you had like Paul Gracie, and he had Dubé and all of his guys in his trailer working on the car till 2 a.m, and then you had Gabriel throwing in parts trying to get the car going, and then you had Lane donating a car, and then you had Jason Webb braking on Saturday, and everybody running to pitch in and help, and even the guys he's battling against aren't doing anything. So sorry.
You got to save that to the end.
I'm so excited.
You know what? And I think John was right that we didn't do this last week when it was still fresh, because you're remembering the event way happier than week out. So that's good. I mean, I like that. The positivity is amazing. I think we're going to just ring into this. Let's go through it. We'll get going right away. We had a few people that messaged in some calls and just some feedback even from the weekend. So I think, day one, we got 4 battles that we're going to look at. The first one is going to be Marco and Matt Rusecki, the one that saw the end of the day for Matt Rusecki with a big D-bead. So listen, if you want to cue that up, and then we'll sort of get a little bit of feedback from us, the judges, and maybe from you, Tony, as well. See what your thoughts are on it and why we need to explain some of the track limits and stuff like that, and what we classify as an incomplete run. So I think this is a good one to look at that.
Here you go. The run's just starting right now for you, and it should click into the replays after.
Nice snappy initiation here for Marco Dassault, Matt Rusecki.
Yeah, on the face of it, this one, was lined up to be, I think, pretty exciting top 16 battle as it was, but little did we know it would have massive championship implications here. This is the DB that unfortunately puts the end to Matt Rusecki's weekend. But let's watch it through here and get your guys' commentary on it. Do you want to?
Oh my goodness.
For me, there, Tony,
For all the hype and
I felt like
build-up that I built that one up
Marco
to
had
be,
like a
it
fairly
delivered
decent
right away.
lead run after the
Fireworks
first outer
between
zone.
Marco
He missed the first outer
and Matt
zone,
Brzezinski as we go to the
and
replay.
I think kind of threw Matt off a little bit. So after that, he was kind of playing catch up. But then he did a really good job of, once he started playing catch up, getting back into the battle and starting to apply pressure after the first two inside clips here. And yeah, it was really nice to watch.
Yeah, that was my notes. I actually had the advantage in the after the first run going with Matt, just because Marco basically missed the entire first outer zone. So that's sort of how I looked at it. There was an advantage going into it with Matt going into this one. So it all comes down to this last this second run here. That would have been.
He needs your support right now, Mission Raceway.
It went.
Get himself back into this one.
Watch and enjoy and see the drama that happens after that.
It's a pretty good
Yeah.
battle. I'm
It was
excited to see what we get on the second half of this one.
it's one of those moments where you almost can't believe what you're seeing. It's kind of like heart and chest, like, oh my goodness, no way. Just do you want to add there too, like Matt Brzezinski, an absolute monster in the it's worth too. Just driving a car very similar to his car, but it's actually Pat Lee's competition car at the last, like literally the 11th hour. Matt unfortunately lost the motor that they had been working on, so Pat Lee stepped up and granted him his car for the weekend. But here you can see what happened on Friday.
Yeah, so I mean, like we can talk a bit about it. Matt's first part of the track was really good. He's right in the zone, and I think you'll see that Marco in the replay, he basically, you know, he goes really wide after outer zone one, getting to touch and go one. And then he just sort of trying to make a sacrifice to play catch up and get back into the run and dive bombs through the inner clip. And you know, there is that argument, like, what is that? Is that the incomplete, or is it like, is that going to be a driver making the sacrifice to get it? And if you look at it, like the DB, the spin, is it more than, no, that's definitely an incomplete. It was Marco incomplete. Based on the new rules and the new sort of strategy that FD is trying to give everybody, and whether it's right, whether it's wrong, you know, Marco doesn't straighten out. He sort of is in drift the entire time. Center punches that, comes through, and then right there, Matt over rotates. His tire goes all the way over to the judge's tower, gives us a little, you know, bump and says, "Here we are." And I think that's it. We get what an incomplete is, and it's easier to tell, especially on the second day, second layout,
we just had a quick
where we have it, and we can discuss that as it goes on. But for us, you know, I was pretty clear that the win goes to Marco on that one, just because, you know, you can't overcome that spin out.
Yeah, and
John, what's your opinion?
Well, if you're not having a one more time, unless it's absolutely two 90-point runs, there's no way that goes to a one more time. In all reality, I thought Matt was probably going to win that run up until the point he DB'd. He had a far better chase up until that point, and his lead was very strong. So when that tire DB'd and actually ended up rolling up and smashing into the fence right below us, it was a TSN turning point.
Yeah, it was just, it's heartbreaking because you know, like obviously that was in the you know, points chase, trying to get in the championship, leading it going into this round. Knew all the drama that he had lost basically two motors, you know, within a week of this round, and then finally borrowing another car. So for us, yeah, this is drifting. This is sort of how it goes. Everyone's out here knowing that is the risk that it takes. Look back over and over to see if there was a collision or something on the track that he would have bumped to actually DB'd, but it just looked like it just maybe tire was done or too low tire pressure, whatever it was, the car, it DB'd without any contact from Marco, without anything else. So it sort of leaves us in a position where we have to make that call. And I think that's probably one of the main things that we look at. People go, well, you know, like you see some runs that aren't great, why don't you just call it one more time? You go back and you're watching the live stream and you're watching the show of what it is. Like you're just picking, you know, who did better in that run, but not to go and just sort of run them again over and over, just to wait till somebody else makes a bigger mistake. So I think it's just makes for a better show and makes just for better
If it isn't
drifting. Maybe a little bit more responsibility on the driver to push hard and drive clean on that first run, knowing that there isn't the chance of a one more time unless they're absolutely with really perfect chase and leads.
And even with our amateur guys, we've been doing that for years where we haven't had one more times on like a 2-0 runs or anything like that. We've just basically seen who's been stronger those 2 runs, and we've moved forward with that. So moving forward with like the new FD rules, it kind of made it quite easy to transition into that.
They fought through everything. They did
a
weak engine change this week. They
with that being said,
they had a car
I was going to say, with that being said, as judges, you guys, do you find that kind of, almost makes the decision easier for you guys, knowing that you do have to pick like a winner out of however much run that we got, instead of debating as if it's one more time?
Yes and no. There's times where it makes it harder for me, and there's times it makes it easier. Whereas a moment like that, it was quite a bit easier.
So
yeah, and I think even this one wouldn't have been a candidate for a one more time anyway. I think it just makes we're asking more of the drivers, and I think we should demand the same of us as judges as well. Sometimes it can get to be where the one more times can be just an easier way to go through it, and to, if you don't want to make the tough call or you want, just send them again. And sometimes drivers are maybe more upset with a one more time if they feel like they did better on that first run. They should have won to one more time, and then something mechanical happens and they lose. You get the same amount of feedback from the drivers either way. But I think this year one doing the rules, there hasn't been a ton of issues going into it where guys said, oh, that should have been one more time, because it hasn't really been that close. Not on the Friday anyway. On the Saturday, we got a couple of them that were more candidates for a one more time if it was 4 or 5 years ago in how we were judging then. But for this one, I think we're good on it. Let's just keep jumping along here. We got the next one that was asked was Carlton McDonald versus Joseph Janik. I'd like to bring that up. I see Carlton is in here, so let's see what he says. See what kind of emojis he flips up on the stream. So if you want to jump over to YouTube and watch that, definitely have the comments on and see what the feedback is. This is live. Nice.
It's nice and quiet right now. I'll let you know.
Nice.
Take it easy, Carlton. Right? Just Carlton lights it up.
Yeah, I think one of the best parts of maybe consuming drifting live on the internet is definitely watching that chat box pop off, as it is very much an internet-based sport. It's come from the internet. It's come to real life. We really do love the online interaction. Huge shout out to everybody that interacted with me during the 2 streams as well. Kept it fun, kept it interesting, but hopefully you guys are doing the same here for the live action replay. So a little bit of context as we see the guys doing the double burnout box. Carlton obviously in his own vehicle, the own program, looking really good. We see the completed livery look for Carlton this weekend. Car looked amazing. I think officially I'm going to give it best looking car on grid this year, so congratulations, Carlton. Joseph Janik, meanwhile, another one of those guys that came in, lost their motor at the 11th hour. I think Jordan Maynard, stepped up, lent Joseph his car, and it was a big weekend to be a rental car drift person for sure. The stonk went up. So as we get ready to leave the line, I'll turn it over to our judges, see what they see.
So he's got to complete the buy run. Still got to complete the buy run. Information coming fast and furious.
Whenever replay Sean wants to send us away here.
Yeah, I clipped them a little long, but I figured there'd be a little talking here in between. Carlton's just giving guys a forewarning here. He's a keyboard warrior, and then fluff him up a little bit more because he's not going to be any nicer.
Oh, great.
It's all right.
Okay.
Love it.
Easy, Carlton, easy.
I'm just waiting for him to
take a look.
Throw in some Eric Andre React memes there, and we'll know he's
he understood
really
the legacy of Spec-D and how much it actually takes me to say a Mustang looks nice. You'd understand why that's a pretty big compliment, Carlton. So you've been fluffed up quite enough.
Especially against an S chassis.
That's the...
Yeah, what's going on, Tony?
Part out loud, Sean. Jeez. You guys are supposed to be talking, not me right now.
Both these gentlemen have driven a lot. In
Beautiful
the
entry by Carlton, like a
one.
feint entry, and filling that outer zone.
Janik
You can't do
all
your
over
job there,
Carlton
Tony.
McDonald right now.
Yeah,
Carlton
like
McDonald
Carlton's
leads
lead
the
run
phase.
is
Just
They're still in the line,
so
but yeah,
nice,
and
and
it
it really sets up Joseph to do a nice chase run, and that's all in part because of Carlton's lead. But at the same time, Joseph's chase was extremely aggressive, and it was not choppy. It was very fluid. So.
See, and I had it the other way there, Mr. Amigo. Had a really good lead run, but I also see some sacrifices made by Joseph to gain proximity in 3 different spots where he sort of dives in a little bit, and you'll see it in a few more where he like cuts shallow and right there and pulls in. So like on this one, how I judge is I give an advantage or after each part. So our judging sheet is set up into a lead and a chase for each driver. So I had this one scored with Carlton with a 2-point advantage over, this is out of 10 over Joseph on this.
And I had it 9-9 each tied going into this next round. 9 out of 10 for
Well,
the
you can
lead
watch it
and 9
again
out of
after
10
we
for chase.
get off.
Oh, Carlton showed me a few
After
times.
we end the stream, you can go and watch it one more time there, John.
So Joseph Janik here with the lead position chance.
Argue now, it's okay.
Going to give him chase. Both these
All right,
gentlemen
I'm
are
ready.
Watch it right now.
taking
Be great.
advantage of this point situation we got playing out here this evening. Here we go. Firing it in nice and early. Joseph Janik, Carlton McDonald, not afraid to answer as they go pace for pace. Joseph Janik now starting to open it up on that.
Yeah, and that's the
Unfortunately,
part.
right there is where Carlton lost it for me.
Yeah.
And also when he missed the entire first outer zone. Sorry, Carlton. Love it. But you're watching the same thing we are. You know. A thumbs up if you know Carlton. You're live in the chat.
So for me too as well, that's where Carlton lost it. It's where he fell off the chase. It's where he failed to adapt to Joseph's lead run. However, Carlton's argument to his point, and I believe Alex's as well, was Joseph's cut in the lead put Carlton at a disadvantage because he cut off the line, and when that happened, he pulled that massive gap on Carlton where Carlton still had stayed on like the ideal lead run. However, when that driver makes that change, you should be able to adapt to it slightly.
Yeah, I think that's probably part of it. You're supposed to use the lead car as the moving clipping point. You know, unless they're leading you right off track.
Yeah, this was a
you want to be able to follow that because
yeah, that's what I like to hear. On the far side,
yeah, Joseph wasn't cutting the line bad enough that he was in the dirt because that's what we talked about in the drivers meeting. We can see where the drivers, if the lead driver is cutting off the chase driver, that the chase driver has no choice but to go in the grass. It's going to be held as a big disadvantage, but fluidity point of going from outer zone 1 into touch and go 1 is sort of however the driver can get there as long as they're maintaining drift in a nice smooth angle.
You guys like what you see out of them?
Maybe that just comes into
I did. I was pretty stoked.
Like an inexperience, or maybe even I can take that back to us for next year to explain that better in the drivers meeting, so that as we get into it, it's more clear, because you hate to have a driver like Carlton lose. That what we're looking for is to him in the chase run a good qualifying line instead of keeping the proximity to Joseph. So, you know, there's something that can be learned to go better into the drivers meetings for next year, and maybe have that clear cut and open up the floor of maybe a little bit longer, or
who thinks Carlton McDonald
my drivers to ask questions specifically on sections of the track, especially now. Everybody's driven the tracks and we kind of run a similar layout. Now they have experience, things that'll maybe have choked them up. We can discuss it. Everybody good on that?
All right, we do have a
like that was a close run for me. It was either going to be a one more time or Joseph. I hate calling one more time, so I feel like you rob the driver of something that's already been done.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Show some love to Carlton McDonald,
all right.
Guys.
You can still think we're wrong, Carlton. It's okay. Your boy had you. Alex was fighting. We just fought harder.
Yeah, we don't actually talk about the calls until after we hear Tony announce them. So we actually in secret we tell Lane who we pick, and then Lane relays it to Tony. So
Yeah, Smee, I think those
after
guys
we
wanted to
found
go
out
one more
from
time.
Tony announcing it, then we had a heated discussion in the tower.
Huge save
Yeah.
there to Carlton McDonald.
No wonder it was that hot in the tower. Can verify.
Well, I think maybe we'll while you're queuing up the one with Marco and
So
Dubé,
this top 8 is going to feel sweet for them.
you can maybe start to play that, and we can discuss just a little bit about some of the judging. I get this actually the question quite a bit: how do we judge? What are we looking for specifically, and how do we come up with the calls? Actually, purposely after last year, we don't do any discussion. We just give our answer dependently to Lane, who inputs the scores, inputs everything into the computer, and he's the one who knows the call before any of us. And then we find out what call John made, what call Alex made. Then that's when we have a heated discussion. But we found that it's better than for us to argue and try to convince the other judges to go our way, just to make your call, stick to it, and then you're 100% behind it, and you know what you have and what you're looking for. I think it just makes for better judging. Hey, and there's arguments. We're all passionate about it. The drivers are. I think the judges are as well. John and I had less arguments this time, but we argued with Alex quite a bit more, which was nice to have a new blood there, and we keep him off the day. We're arguing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed he's not here right now, so we can't argue right now.
Well, apparently he was stuck in traffic somewhere on the way home. So
doesn't he have Discord on
Jason
the phone?
is asking. We got a question here in the thing. Jason Webb, did you have to request for runs to be looked at? Yes, we did mention it, that if you had a request to put it out there, message us and do it. We didn't do it on all the social media stuff just because it's, it becomes a lot where everybody wants everything looked at, and we're not doing a 5-hour show here. We're actually just going to run through it fairly quickly. I know what you're asking. I don't think we pulled the clip of the Friday run between Jason Webb and Angus Yuha, but that there again was a split decision. That was probably one of the first ones. We can go back and look at the notes while we're waiting for that one to queue up.
That was the first time
that's what Jason
Sean and I fought all weekend.
I've got Marco and Dubé ready whenever you guys are, but if you want to talk about that first, feel free.
Send the Marco and Dubé.
Okay.
All right, send Marco and Dubé.
Yeah,
I got a long crash after this one, but you can kind of see a little bit about the
All
emotion behind it and the amount of
there from everybody doing the burnouts and warming up.
heartbreak that goes into racing some weekends.
I think, I'm going to pick you up there, Sean. That's a really good point to make here. Firstly and foremost, we were able to learn that Dubé was okay in the car, and you guys will see here on the stream, it's actually a pretty gnarly hit. It's something I kind of alluded to during the event, and right there. Oops. Justin Dubé, driver that's been driving with us quite a few seasons, and I don't know what it was, what he ate for breakfast in round one, but he really found like another level, I think, this whole year in just how he was driving, the way he was approaching the events, and talking to him. I think at the end of the day, Saturday, at this moment, he wasn't too shaken about the car. You just spill drift car, it is what it is. But I think at this point, he kind of felt his championship hunt was over. It was something that he was really looking forward to competing in. So I think Sean summed it up best. There's a lot of an emotional attachment that goes into these programs, that goes into, it's not just the race weekend, it's the 364 days off the clock that lead up to this. Some of those sacrifices made to, gather the funds to build these cars, obviously, to trek out, to commit to these rounds. A lot of that, maybe came to fruition right there for Dubé, so it can be a pretty trying moment. But, I think he handled this really well. Obviously, it's a disappointment for sure. So we'll talk you guys into it. Why do you think this one went the way it did?
Yeah, I just didn't want to talk about why this one went this way. I think in all reality, Dubé kind of washed out on entry and then just got lost in the smoke. But in all reality, I just kind of forgot how much time and effort it took to build these cars and how much of a commitment it was. Because I really wanted to run this year, and wasn't
one
able
more
to
time,
make
let's
it.
make some
And
noise for
to
Justin
watch
Dubé. He's
Dubé
okay.
crash his car
It's
like
obviously
this,
gonna
and
take us
even
a
though I
few
was
seconds here to clean
quite
up.
concerned
So I
about
want
him
you guys to go
because
grab
it was
an
a hard
agua
hit.
or a
You
liquor
could
there
see
from the beer
the
garden.
whole
Make sure you
underside
grab
of the
one for
car when
Justin
he
Dubé
hits
as
there
well.
and everything, so
We're
we're
gonna take
quite
a
worried
minute here to
about him.
step
But
away, clean that
when he
up.
first
So
built
thank
that
you for
car
watching
last
in-house
year,
and
or was it
online.
last year or
And
2
we'll be
years
back
ago, when he
with some
came out
more
to
Spec-D
Stratotech,
drifting action.
that car was wild. Like, you could just see that, like, how aggressive that car was. Like, it almost reminds me of the Marvel Venom, where like the car is like Venom, where like they're not synced up, and it's just so aggressive. And then this year, it's like they hit symbiosis, where him and the car were one, and they were so good together. It was so awesome to watch them.
Nice
So it
little
was
smoke cloud
pretty hard
there
to
for
watch him
everybody
crash
doing the
here.
burnouts and warming up.
Yeah, and you feel the emotion behind it. Like this car here, I don't even know. I'm thinking it's 4 or 5 years that he was building this car at this point, you know, and the thousands of hours that he put in, just his own time and effort, and multiple engine failures to have the car actually really reliable. But I will give it up to him when he hit. He was very emotional on it. I know that because it's all your hard work, all your investment, taking time away from his wife, from his new baby, and just like coming out and doing this, and you're standing there next to your broken car feeling like, I should have just stayed home and sat by the pool and had a cold one and just wouldn't be in this mess. But then you see that same passion after he sort of gets the car over, checks it out. Realistically, the frame wasn't damaged. The bash bars took the hit, and the suspension parts obviously made the collapse, made to protect the chassis. So he had the car driving back onto the trailer on Saturday. He was missing one bolt and I think one axle that he couldn't fix to be able to make it run on Saturday. But, the car is going to be back together and running here if it isn't already. He'll get it good, but I was just happy that the chassis was saved. I mean, in some of these rare JDM cars, if you watched FD this last weekend too, these K rails are no joke. They're car killers, and I think that's just something that
I never realized
the straight walls are almost better.
Did he flip the wall? No one section.
Yeah, he knocked one of the blocks over.
No way.
He smashed into it with the rear driver's side first, and then skidded probably about 10 or 15 feet to where he stopped. It was hard enough for him to crack both the rims there and bend both the hubs on just from the smash alone.
So one more time.
Yeah, that safety group was quite awesome. I'm quite happy we had that group there.
It's going to take us a few seconds here to clean up.
All right, well, let's
guys to go grab an agua
we beat that enough,
Yeah.
Congrats to Dubé for getting back out and driving and doing stuff. So it's good to see. But for sure, we got Aaron Day and Ian Fournier in the battle here. This was a wild one, and takes about 10 minutes to actually complete both sides of the battle because we had some drama continue where the cars are so cooking hot at the end of the day that Aaron's is catching on fire just from some oil leaking from the drain return line of the turbo. So wild stuff there. So as you queue it up, we get to see the first run. We can chat a little bit about that. Go into the second one.
Sorry, just got another mention here in the chat. I think Critically Canadian wants to just chit-chat about Steins and Tassone when we get to round 3.
Okay. You said, you're going to be able to pull that clip? If you want to, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I can scrub through a video, no worries.
The rest of the stream is going on. You'd find another clip for him.
So setting this one up before we get into it, this is probably one of the battles I think with the most experience per se in one of Spec-D's history. We obviously have 3-time Spec-D champ Marco Tassone, and we have Ian Fournier on the other side, few-time Formula Drift competitor back in the day. Back before Pro 2 was even invented, he was in the main show there, taking it to guys like Forsberg, Daigo, and the old Fat Lace R32 was pretty sweet. So, as a commentator, this is almost like a dream battle come true. You see guys that are just super skilled behind the wheel, and they're going to go out there and just lay it all down. And I think you guys will agree as we walk our way through this one, that's what we get out of Aaron Day and Ian Fournier. It was a pretty exciting cap off to a very, very, very crazy Friday night. And as you see, it didn't get any less crazier from here. So we'll turn it over to our judges and they can walk you through it.
Yeah, when you get these two guys lining up, you know it. Absolute heater. Oh no, it paused here. But yeah, just my notes is I had Aaron had an excellent lead run. He had just a slight kind of slow transition from touch and go 1 to touch and go 2, but it was very, very slight. That was the only mistake. And I had Ian. He was absolutely glued to Aaron's door. He made a small sacrifice coming out of outer zone 1 to gain that proximity, but we discussed that would be okay in the driver's meeting. And I think he made an excellent compromise for proximity.
Yeah, and for me, in my notes, I just had in with a slight advantage. And when you watch the replay here, you'll see that Aaron misses outer zone 2 when he comes through. Outer zone 2 starts there, and he is not in it. That was my disadvantage to him.
Final time today.
Oh, that's why there's 3 of us.
I did not even notice that. And
and here we go.
Touch and go 1 and touch and go 2 notes. I'm like rewatching. I'm like, that looked pretty snappy.
And then we see the drama. Aaron Day's car is on fire. Aaron's sitting in the car going, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just don't pull the fire extinguisher.
Fine.
We know what this is.
It's just a little fire.
It's me sitting in the burning house going, this is fine.
What's happening?
We're going to wash it off and send it again.
If you want, I can skip forward through this here, because I think there's a good chunk of time where they're just figuring out what's going on. So,
yeah. So if you want, you got the scrub so you can find the second part of it. We can chat a little bit about. Yeah. So John, I'm at 7-6 for Ian with an advantage after run 1, and John has him even. Alex
7-6. Why was that a 7 and a 6?
No, base. He has it one point higher because they both sort of made too many sacrifices this 10 round. They both missed outer zone 2. So for me, I'm slight advantage, 1 point over for Ian in that.
Nice and crystal smooth as you'd like in that lead position. Pass that inside clip.
To wait for the replay when it's less choppy.
Yeah, I think there was just some issues getting product up to YouTube from Mission Raceway Park, because there is some jitter in the streams as we unfortunately watch it back naturally.
Yeah, so, and one thing to look at too, like you'll get a little bit of comment on this that Ian has a front brake light. He's still running old school tech where you don't need to have it now. So actually watch the replay. You can see that Ian is on the brakes after initiation, but you also know that he is actually on the brakes 90% of the run just because he's left foot braking. And from our judges' side, we're actually seeing the tail lights because we're over on the side looking at as the drivers drive past us. We can see the back of their car and how the attitude is of it. So for me, when we watch this run, my notes just say like that overall, Ian did a better job adapting to Aaron's lead, whereas Aaron kind of washed out past Ian at outer zone 1. And that's basically what gave the win to Ian in my mind. So that's where I had my choice. John, who did you'd picked Ian as well?
Yeah, I picked Ian as well. I had notes that Ian did not have a very strong entry, but he was good everywhere else, and that Aaron was off track on entry. It had been discussed after it with Aaron. He was thinking maybe that off entry by Ian could have possibly caused him to go off track. Possibly see it. I didn't see it as being enough of a movement away from like the proper line for him to go off course. Maybe if we had like the decel information, like in FD, we could make that call a little bit better. But I didn't think anything was there in real time to make a decision that Aaron's off was due to Ian.
No, we watched them. We pulled these clips previous as well, and it basically looks like Ian and Aaron basically ran the same line going into the entry, and it just, for me, added that Ian had adapted to Aaron a little better. Aaron had also mentioned to me that it looked like to be offline, and that's why he went wide and went off track. You know, again, it's one of those things, and it's kind of like,
Dustin?
each run Aaron's car is lighting on fire. Like, we're getting to the point where I kind of looked at possibly the, like, Aaron going off track on his chase run. I was looking at more like it was mechanical. I wasn't looking so much that it was that, because his car just came out from the pits after being on fire, and after this run, guess what? It was on fire one more time. So hey, shout out to the team for keeping that thing going, though.
Dustin, do you mind scrubbing to the entry there? See if we can just for Ian in the lead there, just to see if we can see if there is like a real noticeable
The bright
decel.
news is
I've watched it a few times on the phone here, and it's been quite hard to see any
Excites me.
decel, but
that means the beer is at least 2 hours away. So
like
that's good.
you can
Here we
see
go.
Ian's brake
Fournier,
kind of
Aaron
locks
Day,
up a
can he
little
give
bit on the
chase?
front there, but I
Let's
think
see
it's
what we
just
get
his
out
like
of this
left
one.
foot
Ian Fournier
braking,
fires
setting
it
the
in on
car
the
up
brakes.
into this corner.
Aaron Day right there, a little bit behind, goes off track, pounds the cones. Oh my goodness, has to check back up, get
Play
back
it
into
back
fourth.
just one more time.
Excites me.
I wish we
That
could
means
like
the
have
beer
like
is at
30
least
different
2 hours
views,
away.
each
So
exact
that's
view
good.
that we
Here we
wanted.
go.
Sure.
Ian Fournier, Aaron Day,
And
can
the
he
big
give
lead.
But
chase?
just watch the line.
Let's see what we get out of
Watch the
this
line
one.
that Ian
Ian
takes
Fournier
here, and then
fires
if
it
we
in
want
on
to
the
pull it
brakes.
back to
Aaron Day
where
right
Aaron's
there, a
leading,
little
you
bit
can kind of
behind,
see,
goes off track, pounds the cones.
like, Aaron's lead was
Oh
better
my
because Aaron
goodness,
actually
has
got
to
out to
check
that
back up,
outer
get
zone
back into
one.
Oh
formation.
yeah,
Ian
by
But like the
Fournier
rest of the
loves
zone
it.
here for,
Nice and crystal
yeah,
smooth, as
it
smooth
was that
as you
choke
like
up
in
for
the
us,
lead
right? So
position. Pass that
yeah,
inside clip, Aaron Day.
and yeah,
Really giving him the
for me, it
full run for the
ultimately
money
came
here.
down to that one off the a better lead run, but I don't think it was enough for Aaron for that to cause a mistake for Aaron. But it's hard to say when you're not in the car. Things when you're in the car
yeah,
seem very different than what it does outside of the car.
yeah. They both kind of dive shallow there, but then like he at least fills out that outer zone one, which is really nice.
Yeah, like this is such a nice lead run. Oh well.
So in the chat, we're getting a request to watch Ian's one more time. Pay attention to the front axle. That's what we're saying. We're seeing a lockup or something there. One of the things I wanted to point out here is we've watched the footage back a few times. We've talked about, Aaron treating, the fire, no big deal. Like, you don't even see him get out. He doesn't motion, just sits there. He's like, yeah, man, it's good. Cool, calm,
It's
collected
what
as
it
always
does.
is Mr. Day. It's what it
Throw
does.
some baking soda
exactly.
on it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So cool cat as always is Aaron.
I wonder if he.
No, and I'm like, when I'm
RBQ's
watching,
fired too
I'm
as
seeing,
well.
I'm definitely seeing
Ian, you
Ian
go the second round.
is left foot braking the entire course, which is, maybe he likes Odie too much and wants to be like an Odie driver.
But
I
even
think the
there, his front's
disadvantage to
locking up.
Ian is, yeah, but I think probably,
Final time today. Aaron
like,
Day,
I don't know, maybe
Ian
we
Fournier.
put those front brake lights back on so it's
Take your
easier
pick.
for us judges to tell what's going on with the brakes, right?
Behind.
I know that
Uh,
FD sort of pulled them off,
We're at our final
but
battle.
for us,
Does that not
whatever.
excite you?
But at the same time, especially with
Excites me.
the power these cars are
That means
making,
the beer is
and
at
even
least
with
2
like
hours
my
away.
8.6,
So that's
like
good.
you rely
Here we
so
go.
much
Ian
on left foot
Fournier, Aaron
braking.
Day, can he give chase?
Right.
Let's see what we get out of this.
Is there
Ian
anything
Right.
Fournier
from
fires it in on
the
brakes.
Wizards,
Aaron
like the
Day
sandal,
right there, a little bit behind,
on
goes off
his
track,
mini
pounds the
project?
cones. Oh my goodness, has to check back up.
Yeah,
get back
they're
into
full on
formation.
into
Ian
like, we're
Fournier,
gonna get
meanwhile,
telemetry for
nice
next
and
season,
crystal
so you
smooth,
guys don't
as
need to
smooth
worry
as you
about
like in
that.
the
More
lead
stuff that we
position.
don't really know what
Pass
to
that
do.
inside clip, Aaron Day.
Yeah, what's going on
Really
there,
giving
Dustin?
him the full run for the
I
money here.
don't want to say
Crazy
too much
stuff.
about it right now
But
because
Ian
essentially
Fournier
all it
gonna
is
finish this one
work
off
in progress
strong.
ideas.
Aaron
We're
Day
not
and
certain what
ladies
we
and
can do
gentlemen,
until we can prove
let's hear
concepts
it
at this
for
point.
Ian Fournier
But
and
in
Aaron
conjunction
Day.
with Dave Martin and a couple other people Martin knows, we're looking at essentially using some of the drone hardware and the capabilities on some of those chips to feed us back some telemetry. So we'll be able to see if we do calibration and stuff right, we might be able to even get an outline of the course. We'll see a variance of how drivers are off of the line that we're aiming for over time. You'll be able to see land speed and then possibility of using the gyroscope or accelerometer in there to show slow up and speed up and slow down times too. So essentially, it's going to be a little black box for the cars. We can just hot swap off of the drivers. No OBD2, no wiring in, just suction cup on and go. So we're going to try and see if we can make one of these devices work for Stratobash, but until the concept is proven, don't expect too much.
you guys operate on a whole nother level. Like everything you're saying, like, oh yeah, that seems like a real thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's the difference
I'm
between
watching-
car guys and nerds, though. I mean, I'm the same way when you start talking rotary. I don't understand.
Listen,
No one
Yeah.
understands that.
I'm watching John and Alex in the tower adding their scores up on their fingers. You
Yeah,
guys are
like
talking about microchip, gyroscopic, spinning. John's like,
Abacus.
what is
I
7,
just upgraded from my
7 plus
Abacus.
4 is what? I know.
You guys want to
Yeah,
learn a
finger.
behind the scenes Spec-D tip? The
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
abacus actually isn't real. I know we make it seem like it's real, but there is actually not an abacus out there. We are left at the mercy of John's counting abilities.
Are we
Real
ready
time.
to move on to
Wouldn't
the
be
next
doing my
one?
job if I didn't walk
In my
in.
defense,
I would
Yeah,
like
let's
to make
talk
a
about
point
Say, that's
before we do.
Okay, go ahead.
So obviously,
Come on,
I'm
you
impartial.
didn't think
I'm a judge. I'm
I'd be
everybody's
better for
fan. I'm
this.
cheering for everybody all the time. I can't pick favorites because everybody's my favorite. But
Yeah.
going back and watching this one, obviously with this replay angle too, and I think it's very important to note out that we didn't have the best replay capability on Friday. But you can definitely see that, when Ian Fournier takes a second stab at the brake, I think it's, again, I'm really thankful I'm not a judge here, so feel free to disagree with me, whatever I'm saying here. But I think it's almost a little bit too late. I could see the case where, maybe the second lockup did affect the chase driver, but I think it's almost just where Aaron fires in the chase here right off the bat. I almost kind of feel sets his arc, sets his trajectory. Ian, let's face it, is super shallow here, but I think Aaron just didn't come to angle as fast as he wanted to. I'm not, again, I just commentate. I don't drive in these cars, but I think it almost just doesn't stick the rotation as he wanted behind it. So I think it's almost a case of like two errors kind of gave us what on the face of it maybe looks like one driver causing an error, but I think it's almost like two independent errors. It's kind of how I look at it. But again, man, I'm just the guy who talks, laughs, and hangs out. So, but
Yeah,
regardless,
all I
still
see
a
on
great
it-
battle.
What I tended to see on it was the I didn't see a difference in like momentum of the car, and when you see him hit the brakes one more time, his tires are already lit off.
Yeah.
He's just on the brakes with his left foot and like trying to stand on the gas. That's how I saw it. Just watching, went back and watched more. His entries were fairly consistent on that, where like he is, as soon as he initiates, his left foot braking the entire course.
So say theoretically we had this wizardry from the Geek Squad over there, and we did see a decel from Ian that was more than usual.
And then it gives it, yeah.
Then we would have went one more
That
time.
would give you something to do. So that, yeah, but then it gives you, well, or even the win would go to the driver if you've actually decelled in a zone, like all we're watching is a physical thing. So actually, like where the judges tower is and where the drivers are driving past the initiation, they're driving right past us. They're not driving at us and not driving away from us. So it's really easy to see the attitude of the car. Where I wasn't seeing that, where there was a big hesitation in Ian's car, cause Aaron to go off. And like maybe that's just some of us knowing the entire story of like how long the car was in the pits and what was going on. I actually assumed the car had broken, that it was done for the day, and then he lit back on and continued after the run. I was looking at it probably more as a mechanical thing instead of maybe it was the decel of Ian. We did watch the replay a couple of times there, try to get it, what caused it, and I didn't see the car slow up. So, I'm still sort of stuck on that. I just had those were my notes, that it was a good clean one, but
yeah, in Aaron's defense, any minute change by the lead driver can be very challenging at times to adapt to it.
Yeah, when you're going 120K into a corner and it's the car's closing fast on you, either bail out or going to go into him. So I definitely can see that as well. Can see it going that way. Maybe a one more time could have been in that same zone. But I think let's move on to A2. We got Jake Sneeden and Paulie G.
Let's get into it.
I think this is the first time I was real upset with you. Real upset with you, Sean.
Sean Switz
Look good,
got
man.
the call
We need
on
to
the
put a
happy.
webcam or something up in the judges' tower, but have it muted just
No.
so you can get the
Yeah.
sense of the drama and see what's going
No.
on.
I'll just wear a head
You
cam.
see a lot of Italian speaking, I bet.
Yeah, it's like the European hockey where the refs are wearing the cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd just be everything just bleeped out every second word. Are you blind? Do you not see
No.
that?
You're gonna make the stream increase
Okay,
live
but-
somehow.
Listen, while you guys are all watching this, right? So everyone's watching it live. Put who you think won. Watching the battle the same way. Put in the comment, drop it in there right now. Who won this battle? You guys drop it in there and you let me know. You think?
Can I comment on that?
Can't pick a one more time. No, there's no one more times. You pick who won based on the lead in the chase.
Can be a lot of pressure being
Yeah.
the first
For
battle
me,
out
I
of the gates.
thought Jake had zeroed in is it touch and go, or is it outer zone 2 there? Coming into, yeah, this is right here is where, in my mind, Jake had zeroed.
But I
on
got
his
the
run.
straight there, and then I have the big straight here.
But I think that was because Jake had gotten off and he was kind of just figuring out what was going on there.
Yeah, and I had it like he's so far back, no matter what Jake was doing, he was sort of doing his independent run. Looked at that first run as like, meh.
Yeah.
And hey, and please, like, sometimes we look back and we go, the runs aren't the cleanest, right? I'll give it to this though, you know, and I Paul, you know, to his face, shook his hand multiple times. He is doing fabulous in the car that he has, with the power that he has coming out, driving all 3 rounds. It's fabulous. The team he has, he should be extremely proud. He made it into every single round of competition this year in his rookie year. That is something that lots of us never did in our rookie years, was qualify for every single round. Qualified each round, battle. He should be proud of that. I mean, these guys straight up, you know, Jake, I went over and asked him, like, this isn't the driving that he normally does either. So when we look at it and we say, like, this is terrible driving, say it to the drivers that these aren't your good runs, and they know it. Know it's not going great for them, right?
Shuts it down behind him. Looks like he was snapped to angle a little quicker.
So, in my mind, just to add a note here, I think we literally bring generators with more power to the track than Paul G's car has ever made. So I think it's really impressive that he was able to, you know, just compete all 3 rounds, qualify on merit, good attitude the whole time. Just see on the chat, you know, he's you know, someone was apologizing for getting a little upset about these calls, but we've said it many times. If we weren't passionate about this, if we didn't get, you know, those moments of, hey man, like what the heck, like, you know, I don't think it would be as entertaining or as exciting. I think passion is just a byproduct. We kind of touched on it with Dubé earlier, just with how much everybody puts into these events, into these cars, into these programs to make it happen. Passion's a byproduct of it. You know, you're asking for opinions on who won this. Again, just the commentator guy. Don't come at me, bro. But you know, I would have probably picked Paulie G out of the 2 runs. Honestly, I feel that Jake Snedden, the 2 sacrifices he makes, especially with the dirt drop and just having to reinitiate in for that final zone. Well, Paul G maybe not the cleanest, or you know, behind him really in the same postal code. Was still drifting, you know, still committing to what he had to do, not trying to, you know, straighten up to try to get back up onto the 4 doors of those walls. He's just, you know, hanging out doing his own thing, kind of separate. But I think I can kind of see that.
For me, I just saw like the long straight, and like it's right here, right? Like it's a long, and you see the car kind of wobble back the other way, and it's pretty tough to.
Not too sure what happened to Jake Snedden. It looks like a separate issue for Paul Gracie, but it looks like he shuts it down.
It is a hard recovery point. Like, I mean, I don't have driving experience on any of these tracks, but I've played on the sims with these guys, you know, thousands of times. And from using a car that doesn't have enough horsepower to make it through that corner and push it through that straight and reinitiate into another turn right away, it's tough. It really is. This section here is just one of the toughest parts about having, I'd say, more grassroots ready car than pro level.
Yeah, no, but I look back, you know, like I went back and I watched our round 1 stream as well, and you could really see how good G actually did on round 1 with the car. That was the highlight for me, was him holding it together and qualifying on that layout. It's actually almost more challenging than this, so For me, I look at it as a season. Yeah, like the call
They're gonna
maybe
switch
didn't
around.
go
Paul
his
Grace
way,
is
but
gonna go to that lead
know,
position. Jake Snap
obviously
gonna
2
get
of the 3 of
chased.
us must
No
have
real
agreed on that.
advantage either which way, just looking for a
Don,
quick
you were
run
at, what
between
were
those
you at
drivers.
on that one?
So Paul G
Yeah, I had it
fairly
slightly Paul
clean lead
G's
run
way.
could put
Just
himself into advantage
didn't
to
do
make it into the top
anything
16 here.
fancy or special,
That'd be a
but
nice way
he
to
had
cap
stayed
off
in
his
drift and
Spec-D rookie
on the
season.
course. And after
So
looking
let's
back,
see.
he did
Team-
have
Jake's
more
no-
straights than I remember.
no,
So
stranger to danger.
And put this
Not
back, a
extended.
couple of years
See
ago,
what he's
we
got.
probably would have ran that one more time. And would it have got better? I don't know. Like,
Here we
if
go.
you look at how the night played out,
Jake
right?
Send stock
If you
and
take
Pauly G
runs
through
like
the
this,
course
and it's
as
not
they go
the,
to that first
please,
touch
nobody
and
take
go.
it like
Paul
the wrong
Gracie
way. These guys are really
filling
pushing,
it,
and I
doing
give all the
everything he
credit
needs
to
to
their
be.
teams
Jake Stenton in
pushing
tow.
hard to make it
Much better
happen and
run
come
for
out
these two
and
gentlemen
do the
here as we come
rounds.
to the infield of
Next
the
year when he
course.
comes back,
Paul
he's
G
going to
filling
be,
that first outside
phenomenal.
zone. Little bit of a wobble. Look at
Jake
that,
Sneeden, when he comes
Stenton
back and is
getting
maybe
off
just
in the
like,
business of
something
Paul
might
G.
have just been misfiring in the
Shuts
car
the
because
tap
this is
behind
not
him.
how
Looks
he
like
ever
he's
drives.
snapped to angle.
no, that
He's
was
like a
his
fairly
first run of the day.
contender. So like when you take this, you look at the, if you take it and you go, okay, well, we should have one more time that. And when you look at how late the night went, if we had 2 or 3 of these, we've been running the finals in the absolute pitch dark. And that's what really wanted to be, to speed up the show, give more actual driving time instead of like making Talk 16, and a half hours long. It's really tough to do. So, yeah, we'll probably revisit that in some chats that we're going to have in the off season about how are we going to do it? Are we going to do run more times for some of the, battles like this, or we're going to carry forward?
I honestly think that getting away from one more times on battles like this is probably one of the best things for the sport. It can really kill the afternoon.
All right,
and
we do have a decision. Moving
Yeah.
on to the top
I don't
16.
think
It's going to be
it's
Jake
acceptable
Stenton.
to keep running runs like that
Jake
one
Stenton gets the win.
again and again.
But,
So.
I mean, you take it from what they're doing, and they got to learn something from it. I mean, I look at all, his first season
Let's get into it.
running the pro competition was
Jake Stenton is
Spec-D.
gonna
I got to
lead.
give it
Paul
up to him
Gracie is
for
gonna give chase.
doing it, qualifying for all the rounds.
Switzer's got
I'm
the
proud of
call
him
on the
and his
start
team
line.
for doing it.
And
That's all I
here
can
we
say.
go.
And I mean,
Drop the throttle, send it.
he's new. He's got. Don't worry. There's multiple years that you got in this, and disappointments will continue to come because there is only one first place in any of this stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
for it, and I get it. Like the team's also, we're sitting there with the spotters all around the stand, our judges tower,
They're not
and then
nice.
they are leaving,
Oh, no.
and they're upset with the call. They are telling us that
Jake
they're not
Stenton has an
upset with the
issue
call, which is
going
fine.
that
I mean,
first outer zone,
to be
super
passionate in it,
shallow
definitely to
on
do
that
it.
second outer zone, not
Let's
too
jump
sure
ahead. We
what
got
happened
the next
to
one
Yeah.
that we're going to
Stenton.
look
Looks
at
like a
is
separate
Carlton
issue.
and
All right,
Spencer
next battle
Bolt.
up on deck. We got Spencer Bolt
Oh,
and
you got
Carlton
Yeah,
McDonald.
as a judge, you'll basically ruin
All
20-some
American
guys'
battle,
day
brother.
and then make
Mustang
one guy
versus
happy.
Chevy.
Maybe.
Ford
And you
versus
got to be
Chevy
okay with those odds
Mustang
going in.
versus
It's definitely pretty
Corvette,
tough.
I guess
That's
they
why I
call
like
that
the
thing.
easy job of just, sometimes I mess up someone's
We're
last
at
name.
Freedom
It's
Ave, bro.
okay.
We're at Freedom.
Unless
You
it's,
definitely don't have the easy
Mr.
job there,
Havoc's
don't
grandma
you?
who will come and she'll throw fists with you 100%. So watch out for that.
Do you know what's
Has
really
she
nice
talked to
about
Jared
Jason's
Gianda?
team is that if you watch the stream on
Jason Webb also
the
watched the
seating
live stream. Had a
bracket, they do
many
not
talents.
say anything about Jace that is out of line. They got his name
So
perfect.
shout out to
Yeah,
Jason Webb.
I
They
noticed
got-
they came correct
they
this year,
must-
this round.
They must
Nope.
have got tuned in.
They
Anyway,
were
let's
very
sit back and watch
precise about
this,
that. Yes.
and then
Yeah,
we'll
definitely
give a.
a big tone change from Deanda.
LBDJ
You know, it's a
sick
good
with
thing.
the
Though.
beats.
Someone else is going through the same things that we did,
Love you,
so
Jeremy.
it's only fair.
As we are getting ready.
She always
to
makes us
Carlton
like brownies and
McDonald
stuff,
in the lead
and
position.
like Rice Krispie squares. So
Gonna give chase.
You should make
Here
crayons.
we go.
Oh man, those are the best crowns I've had in a long time.
So back on
These
track,
lanes are way too
Carlton,
16 cylinders of
Spencer
American
firing it
freedom
in
on
here.
track right now,
And
bro. Let me tell you
yeah,
what,
right away
as
we
here
kind
we
of,
go,
well,
Carlton
I think
McDonald
we
filling that
survived the first run, but I think
inside
it's
zone.
run
Super
2
Bowl
that
there
we
for
really take a
Carlton
look at. So
McDonald.
let
Looking
let you
bold,
guys
going
pick this one
everywhere.
apart.
Carlton is going. Looking beautiful here.
Run 1 was very
Carlton
important because of that right there.
Drops a little bit of
Because
dirt.
that's
Nice
that
angle
straight
into
by
that
Spencer,
final
and you'll
outside
see
zone, though.
why it was important a little bit.
Spencer
And it goes back to
drops
the
back a
no
little
more
bit.
one-more
Carlton
times, and I
McDonald
do agree with there
has
not
found
being any more
something
one-more
extra
times.
here on
But
Saturday
in all
night.
all, that was an excellent
We
lead
love
run
to see
by
it.
Carlton. It was very well done.
right. So for me, we have the advantage here. So if you only have one run to
I feel
judge,
like
this is
this
the run
should
that you
been
have
the
to
American
judge.
national anthem.
And you look
These
at
two
this, like
Indians just
Carlton isn't cutting the course anymore. He's running a big, deep line in every single one, allowing the chase driver to come up and drive to his door. No problem. But what I really like about Carlton's lead here is how he always initiates or sets it up into this, where he adds a ton of angle, but then rides to the outside of the course there. It's nice to see. Ian Fournier also drives a lot like that, and there's a couple other drivers. I think Marco throws it in really hard backwards into that last outer zone. It's really nice to see. These guys are driving right on the edge of the track. Moving the track limit to the edge of the track was kind of nice.
Oh yeah.
Right, now they're going to flip it around and get to this.
All right, we are already back online for the second half of this battle. Carlton McDonald going to give chase. Spencer Bolt going to lead. Here we go. Nice initiation look at Carlton McDonald getting right into the business.
Right off the rip. There it is.
Practically pushing him around the course.
Right, but the stream's choked up. We need to watch that one more time to see what happened there.
In there pretty good.
I think it might be on your end there, John.
Did you guys see the entire run?
So at this point in time here, we went into the mode of assigning faults to this. Who did you assign fault to? I can't remember.
I did shared fault on it. I did shared fault because I thought that Spencer hadn't quite lit off fast enough, and Carlton was just right there. Like, he had no spot to go. So I looked at it more like a racing incident, where I'm not going to be like, Spencer parked it or Carlton hit him. I just looked at it like, okay, run is over from this, right? You had the collision, okay. From there, if you share it, they can both try to look at their cars, but basically the run is over. All we have to do, there's no second run. We judge it based off of the first run. Sure. Years past, again, we get into that thing. They feel like we should have ran this one more time. But if you didn't have it, if they both zeroed without a collision in the second run, so let's say that Spencer or Carlton zeros by straightening up, Spencer zeros by straightening up. Both of them are incomplete on their second run. We go back just to the first run, where we would give the win to Carlton because his lead was better. Run one was better. He had the win in that, in my mind. So instead of getting hung up on the collision and trying to look at the fault of it, that's what I saw in this, is that it was just a shared fault.
Yeah,
who did you have the blame on?
And I had my blame on Carlton being too aggressive, even though, like, to all the spotters, I made it very clear at the beginning of the day that we need to get the drivers to light off as soon as possible and sweep all the way to the edge of the track, and that drivers would be penalized for lighting off too late or having an awkward line through there. I'd given fault for Carlton, just the way that he was so aggressive into it, and the tire-to-tire contact didn't allow Spencer to even recover. So if Carlton had come into the door, maybe we might have had like a decent run after that, but being as he came tire to tire, I gave the fault to Carlton. And I believe Alex went the other way, where Alex gave a fault to Spencer just because he didn't light off soon enough. So
right, and this one is actually, like, in my mind, this layout is easier to judge how their initiation is. Like on the Friday layout, it's harder to tell. Like, necessarily they are on the track, they're driving like at us at speed, and they're covering up their line with the smoke. Here we have the replay where, like, you can see that Spencer is way off the wall. Like, he initiated 3 feet over, dragging bumper on the wall at the one cone, running the wide line, because you can see, like, Carlton's wider on initiation than Spencer is. So for me, that's where I go, okay, he's not wide enough, he hasn't lit off enough. Carlton's there, no place to go. But it's not to, like, I just zeroed both of them and just said, okay, run 2 is done, judge on run 1, he's a winner.
Yeah.
16 cylinders of American freedom on track right now.
And it was one of those moments where, like, it's always surprising to find out what the other guys say for who's at fault and everything like that. So it was
and same thing, like when we're signing fault. we judged it based off that same way, where we were looking to assign fault, and we try not to have the big argument on it, and we just who we thought, and I had the shared. So it was a run one, and it was a shared thing. They both have time to look over their car, check it out, all that. I think before we get into the Marco and Webb one, because that's our final one I want to look at, are you able to pull up anything on there for
this should have been the American National
the
Anthem.
comment?
These two engines just
you were looking for
Mission Raceway. It feels very patriotic.
Marco and
yeah, look at Carlton McDonald.
sorry,
Oh, Marco and Alex. Yes, I have that one ready here. It's
hanging with him, but
sure. So let's pull that up and let's look at that, because then the big one that we want to finish off today with is with Marco and Jason Webb.
Marco and Alex. Oh, when was that?
This would have been on Saturday, probably about, I think, the third battle in on the event.
Go to it. So if you guys are watching along, I have Marco with a really good run, like an 80-point run on this. I just had Alex shallow on the water zone 2 going into it. So I just had that as a big thing. And Marco had a really clean lead. So after run 1 here, this is what I had written down was what the advantage going to Marco on it.
Yeah, it was that entry by Marco, and there's a straightening 1-2 caused by Marco, and then he also had a straight outer zone 2, not caused by Marco, and yeah, this right here, and that right there was the nail in the coffin for my notes. But it was a split decision, actually. Looks like Alex voted for Steins. Our Alex voted for Alex, and Sean and I went for Marco.
And the only other thing that I see when they flipped around and you watch the lead run here with Alex in the lead after the replay here, had it that he dropped a tire and missed the outer zone 2 again. Just wait for the run 2.
Yeah.
So that's mine. I mean, you know,
right there.
I give it same thing. You know, like we're in the judges tower, and we're not really looking at where we are even in the bracket. We're just judging run after run after run, just trying to give, you know, our absolute best to it and try to be fair and easy on it. People always think, you know, whatever, they'll think that we're just not. Of course, you know, your friends are all saying the same thing, but we're just looking for those little mistakes that, and sometimes that's just, it's a small mistake that you'd think, okay, well, that one should have went one more time. But, you know, not every run can go that way. You need to pick a winner and find out what it is. And again, like I think, you know, Alex did really well based just off of his first time driving with us in the pro. I mean, he absolutely dominates in the grassroots stuff. So to see him step up into pro and make the car happen, you know, kind of the last minute and finish it all, you know, a couple of days before the event, it's good to see him go. It's a nice, nasty entry. I like that. Marco had the big cut there. That's his big sacrifice going into it. Then I had him diving in on the inside of the track there, where you see Alex sort of dirt drop on the inside of the track. Big sort of correction there. And then he's sort of like inside the entire way.
Yeah, I don't even think I would have ran it one more time back in the day either. It just would have been for Marco.
Yeah, good with that. Leave your comment in the comments what you think, and you know, delete them later.
I'm reading the comments right now here, and I didn't realize that Marco had drilled the hole in Jason's fuel pump.
Bunch of goons.
Marco does it.
Yeah.
Marco does everything wild, right?
Yeah.
Let's get out this conspiracy theory, right? There wasn't a hole in the fuel pump until Marco got under the car to help.
Then there was 2 holes.
We're ready for the next set.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's bring it up. Let's bring this up, and this is really what I want to focus on. And Marco, you can unmute yourself. Your beautiful face up on the stream. We all want to see you. While he's doing his warm up there, I'll give a little bit of background. Jason Webb had actually messaged me saying that he's from South Africa and he wants to drive in the series. And at first, when he messaged me, I was like, yeah, okay, man. Like, we're all good. I don't want to buy it. Don't need it. And I can't fund it. Then I realized, no, he'd actually moved here from South Africa, was importing the car, and it kind of went from there. An absolute stellar
All
guy.
right. So
If you
doing some
see it when he
math
gets out of the car, you may recognize an old driver's suit
pretty
from
big
way
one
back
here
in the
for
day
Marco
that used to be
Cassone,
mine.
tries a huge
Marco
competitor
can attest to
in,
that. I've
Jason
lent
Webb,
out
but
driver's
the,
suit
the way the numbers have
to just
played
about
out,
everybody,
if
seats and
Marco
parts,
can
whatever
win
it
this
is to
one,
get him
I
going.
think he could win the championship.
I think
Jason
both-
is borrowing.
2 points. Like I said,
Both
pretty
drivers
hard
in this
bet. I don't know
battle
if that's
have
right,
driven in
so
that
don't
suit.
quote me, but
That's a
Tarp-
very
tarps
interesting
off.
takeaway.
Marco had
Tarps
my
off for
old
the
blue
both of them.
suit.
Come on now,
but-
that's fine.
Oh yeah, the old. Oh, okay,
Don't-
I remember now.
don't trust my
But
math.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you really messed that up, didn't you? That's okay.
Carry on.
Here we go.
There you
Marco
go.
Cassone and Jason Webb for your third
Yeah, when I
place
first
battle.
seen Jason's car,
After a
I was
long
like, yeah, it's just
doubleheader
another
weekend, there's
fairly
only
mild
2 battles
Mustang.
left to go.
And then I think it was like the AM night at Strato, and I
Let's
seen
see
him.
what we
His
get.
first run was like reverse entry,
Yeah,
corner 1 of Strato. I'm like, okay, never mind. That guy can drive. That car is
and for all
unreal.
you Strato Bash kiddies, he didn't
Jason
hit
Webb
the
in lead,
rocks.
Marco Cassone
Focus on
gonna
that,
give
okay?
chase. Championship
Let's get
First
into
lap
the
out, he
story.
He
didn't hit
reverse
the rock.
entried like 10
Nice
times.
snappy initiation there for Jason
Yeah.
Webb. Marco Cassone jumping up right to the door of Jason Webb. Jason Webb
Unreal.
still in that first outer zone. Now transitions across that second touch and go. Oh, Marco Cassone.
Sorry,
a little bit of an
Marco.
issue
I had you
behind
as a
him.
0.
Jason Webb, huge angle here.
Oh, is Marco on mute?
Whoa! Little bit of earth moving
So
there.
you can't run a
courtesy of
bottom
Jason
stump.
Webb,
Not
filling
stump
all
that
of
actually
last
hit. It
outside
was
zone. Holy moly!
Fuel pump.
this fuel
That's
pump
the
that actually got
cannoli.
a hole in it.
Amazing job there by Jason
Dropping.
Webb. Let's
He
take
did
a
a
look
dirt
at
drop
the
there right at the edge of the
replay.
track.
Wish we had that Ian Fournier and Jason Webb getting into it. That was quite the collision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
after this run,
So
I had
good
a
initiation
major
from both
advantage
drivers.
to
Marco Cassone
Jason
all up in
here.
the business. Jason Webb transitions in
So
front of him.
that's
Marco Cassone has to back
straight
out of it there.
there.
Has to reinitiate.
Mark.
Little bit of a bobble
Yeah,
there
but just
for
watch. You can
Marco
see
Cassone.
right about where he actually
Jason Webb
punctured it
transfers
is
across
right
front
here where
axle.
he
Look
does
at
his
Jason Webb
boom
drop in
in
it.
this final outside
That's where
zone.
he
Oh,
would have
man.
punctured that line or that
rush.
fuel pump that sort of sits
All
along
right.
the frame rail.
Wicked job
just the
there
way it
for
goes,
Marco
right?
Cassone.
But
Jason Webb.
you know, same thing. Like this was Jason's battle to lose. Like right here, the championship would have been would have went to Aaron. Would have been champion.
Jason
Marco
Webb
second,
sitting on a bit of an
and
advantage
Justin
at this
Dubé
one.
would have been in
Marco
third place
Cassone now
still.
has a chance
If his
to
car wasn't
decide
leaking
fate, to
fuel right
decide
here.
destiny.
So I think what's really important to point out on this, the first crew on the scene, and you heard Sean, you know,
I was just
Triple S
thinking about
had so
this.
much to gain from this. Corey and his crew were the first guys on the scene to patch up the hole that Marco drilled. Obviously, they brought the second drill bullet. Unfortunately, I'm just kidding. But no, I really wanted to speak to the sportsmanship we saw from the whole Triple S team. Like they have the ability to have car 1 and 2 in the championship at this moment. But they were the first guys there, gloves off, let's go. Like, let's get this car back online. And, you know, Marco, I got a lot of respect from you. I loved you, but you were cooked on this one, bro. Jason was absolutely on another level. So they really wanted to see you lose, and they tried their hardest to make that a possibility for you.
And you thought the drama was
Yeah,
over.
Let's
buddy.
fast forward it a little bit to where the car's in the air and you
Oh
see
my
the crew
goodness,
that's
look at that
underneath.
on the live
Is
stream.
And we
there
just want to
recording?
talk a little bit about that.
Is there recording how Malcolm made it over there so quickly?
No, he just
No,
showed
he
up,
just,
man.
He's like
just appears.
Bluetooth Malcolm, like
Yeah,
you said.
Bluetooth Malcolm.
I think I talked about it on the stream. He's just there.
I gotta shout him out because like he's the young son hero of the pits right now. At, like any of the past events over the last couple of years, the first
Fixing
person
everybody.
to break, yeah, he is right there. So Malcolm, you're a real one, homie. You need some credit. We love you. Everybody else loves you too.
Any of the comments we want to read while we're getting over there? I don't have the stream pulled up for the comments, so somebody. I'm just watching the one that we're actually doing live. So if somebody has a comments that anybody has any. So what I'd like to say is like, you know, as you know, people were like, why did it take so long? But we want the car to be safe, right? This thing is leaking fuel. What we're looking at is like, let's get it up safe on jack stands. So like the 5-minute clock doesn't actually start until they lay hands, like actually going to repair the car. Backing it up, getting it safe. having some sort of like oil absorbent, something there, like cardboard, whatever, so that these guys aren't just like laying in fuel when we have like all the other stuff going on. But like I stopped by Triple S the other day and just talked to the crew and said, like, so why were you guys so keen to help this guy get back out there? What was the point of it to do it? Because if Jason would have got fixed and they were actually able to put the pump in, and Jason did another run, Marco basically had to just like have an absolute 100 to beat Webb, and Webb needed to spin out in the chase. It would have been that Aaron was champion, and Marco, like, for you, this is a huge implication, but you're over there like cheering it on and wanting all this to happen. What's your feedback on that, Marco?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with John and Sean and Tony on that. Like, I knew at that point, after that huge mistake I made in my chase, it was probably over. I would have had to put a 100-point lead run down, probably the best lead run of my life, and hope that Jason was also going to make a mistake. So knew that it was probably over at that point. But that being said, I met Jason Webb prior to Mission. I think even prior to the Strato Bash event, he came by to pick up some fuel from us, and chatted with him for a good hour. Took him for a tour of the shop, and he's a pretty incredible human being, great guy to talk to. So that would be one of the first things for me. Also, his crew is basically just him and his missus, or his wife, I believe. We knew we had obviously a really awesome crew. Huge shout out to Jovi, Mac, Corey, all the guys that were on the card.
It does take a village. All right, so a little bit of elaboration here. So the
win a battle,
5-minute competition
win a
timeout officially
championship
begins
battle,
when the vehicle
guys
is
get back
safely
on
on jack
track.
stands and has been
That's kind of the
jacked up
spirit of
and
drifting. That's the
safely
beauty of
worked on.
drifting. Been around the school for
Introduce this rule just because it's a
15
rush
years
under
ago.
5 minutes to try to get the car
That's how it's always
lifted up
been.
and
People are
safely
always
placed on jack
back into
stands.
each
So we
other,
got safety
high
about
five,
call.
each other, get out,
50
back on track
seconds left,
in
though. 50
competition.
seconds
So
left. They are
one of
changing the fuel filter on Jason Webb's car.
We deserve the podium, probably even deserve
Quite the village under the vehicle there. Is Jason Webb in the car getting ready?
Get back out there.
One thing is that definitely Aaron knew what would happen if Webb won the battle, because if you look closely, you'll actually see Aaron Day under a car, and this is something that I haven't seen
and we are officially hearing over the
in
radio
a long time.
that Jason Webb
So
is
shout out to Aaron Day. Like, I didn't
know
how the mechanic wrenching skills, but he was under there covered with gasoline and just like ready to go. He was, I don't know, he was working again. I'm surprised he didn't go over and check your car and pop your fuel cell or something. Eh?
Give a huge round of applause to Jason Webb and all
For a man surrounded by so much fire, it's pretty bold for him to just go jump in a gasoline pit. But that again just attests to the ain't care attitude from Aaron Day. What a beauty.
Nah, I mean, let's give it out to that. Shout out to the team, Webb. I think this was just probably the spirit of drifting for me. No matter what happens, all the sunburns, all the everything that goes on, to see the entire pit surrounded against a driver that they've only driven with this one weekend. Basically, Jason is it's his first 2 events, and this is the first deepest he went into competition, right? Running with you for 3rd and 4th place there, and for everybody to be supporting him, that really just makes it worthwhile, makes all the sunburns, all the heat, all the travel, all the stress really worthwhile to see that. That is the spirit of drifting. So I give it out to the Triple S team and everybody in there. Gabe, pretty much Joseph had his pump off of whatever cars he had. Everybody had every spare part that they had ready to go to give him a hand. And hey, that's exactly what we're looking for. So, I mean, obviously you go out there, they didn't fix the car. You go out, you do your buy run, get your 3rd place again, so this puts you as season champion. What's your sort of thoughts on that? Take us back, we got a little bit of time with you here, take us back to where it started and maybe the process of how you got to be season champion, because this is the first year since you really went into the new platform with the new car. The car has run well for you all 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. You can go all the way back to 2009 as a high school student coming out to the first drift practice. Ran into Sean Hardham at the track.
So Jason Webb unable to make it to the line. Marco Tassone pulls up for the second half of the battle. He's going to fly solo.
Hooked, and yeah,
come on, get out of here.
I competed in amateur series in 2015. After championship that year, Sean next year.
What's that?
Unluckily, had an engine failure, I believe, that first season. One hooked me up with Corey at Triple S. Eventually, like you said, Sean, we moved into this.
So Marco Tassone, back-to-back third places here.
Really bad luck with
the Spec-D Drift Series. Make some noise for the Triple S driver, Marco Tassone, finishing up in third place here tonight. But, oh man, you got to send some love over to Jason Webb as well. Tried as hard as they could to fix that vehicle, unable to do so in the allotted time.
Bad luck didn't end there. Ended up having an engine failure with one of the most reliable, notoriously reliable engines ever. Decided to take a year off, mentally, physically, financially, just needed to kind of reset after, that season. I'm glad I did that, because coming out to the drift events as like a spectator or helping out or whatever really made me hungry for the sport again. Watching everybody else drive and mission was just kind of like, man, I need to get out there. I need to be out there. Like, I know I can compete with these guys. So yeah, just got really hungry, and I'm glad we kept at it this year. Still had to work out, this year, even, at the Northern Mud event. And eventually found a package that worked and took it all the way to the end. And, I'll be the first to admit, I think in Mission, I got very, very lucky in many cases. I mean, we've talked about it in this stream many times. Like, there was quite a few battles where had somebody else not made a mistake or had a mechanical failure or a crash or a tire DB'd, I probably wouldn't, I definitely wouldn't have made it to the podium and wouldn't have won the championship.
Right,
but,
so Jason Webb able
many years of bad luck. Pretty good driving, finally turned around and turned solo. It was an amazing feeling.
Gives him the come on, get out of here.
Yeah, the first time I ever came to the track, I think you're the first person I ever really met there, Marco. You're the first person to ever come over and, I don't know, help out and say hi. And I was like, wow, this place is so welcoming. You don't ever see this like on the streets or anything like this. And I think honestly one of my biggest first impressions in Spec-D or in drifting was probably you, to be honest. So to see you come out in your first battle years ago and you did so well in your first season, I was like, who is like, I thought you just like helped out like marshalling and like, how are you driving so good? Like, and then now to see you win, like it's so awesome to see, and it feels good for me. And, yeah, it's great.
But oh man, you gotta send some love
definitely.
over to Jason
And I think
Webb
I think that's something you were definitely overdue. We talked a little bit about it on the stream, and we're obviously giving you a little bit of a hard time that you got lucky on a few of these runs. But hey, like, I mean, if you don't get some luck after your string of bad luck, I mean, who else is going to get it? You definitely needed it. I mean, driving throughout the your round one got you in the position where you're in the points hunt, and then getting in there, driving was on point. Like, I mean, you had some lucky ones where a D beat or something like that, but definitely, this was your event, and to see you win that championship definitely is a good thing for us, for the series, for us personally. Like you were saying, you started off just like helping on Thursday nights. You and Spencer were out there, picking up pylons, running start line, whatever it was. You were hungry for drifting, and just, I'll take the responsibility of ruining your life and doing all that. But hey, you're not the first one that we've ruined. But here you are. You're standing as a Pro Spec license holder for 2025.
Sorry to keep everybody
and I got the congratulations email from Kevin Wells today from FD after their St. Louis. So, it's official that you are holding the license for 2025.
Hi, Marco. Hi, Gabe. Hi, Ian.
And we're hoping that over this off season, you guys can really prepare and maybe go down and experience it, or if you choose to run again and dominate and win your relicense again with us, I mean, we're more than happy to have you guys back. The Triple S team really showed its true colors this round, I think, and this weekend out in Mission, and just to see that was, I don't know, sometimes you just need a renewal for all of us, for all the staff, for all the hard work that we put in. You need that renewal of the spirit of drifting, and everyone underneath Jason's car, even though it was a mechanical failure, that really just reignited, your love in the sport and your love of the people that are in it. So,
Gentlemen,
you know, that's really kind of how I want to
Fun.
wrap
You guys
up this
enjoy it?
this whole season, is that is what drifting is, and
Me too, buddy. Me
that's
too.
what we need to take away
So,
from it. Anybody else have some closing
winner
comments
tonight.
here? We're already wrapping into how many
Gabe
hour and a
gets
half
the win.
things, so we can probably let
And
everybody go to
round
bed
three,
and
the Spec-D Ian Fournier
peace out.
finishes up in second. Not
go
a
prep
bad
the car
result.
for,
Very few years
tomorrow.
out of the car, just comes back.
There you go.
Oh, watch out for the kids. They're all coming.
Yeah,
Many
bring your
generations
brawlies.
yet
It's gonna be
celebrate
wet.
the
We'll
win.
be going. I don't care if
Okay.
I'm running
Well,
line.
I mean,
don't
hey,
care if I'm running.
we can't leave this out, okay? We can't
Yeah.
leave this out. Gabe is
All right.
also just a rookie in our
Yeah.
series, right? He picked
yeah,
up
yeah,
a
you
car
guys pop
that is
that up,
obviously
pop that
well
up.
built,
I'm
but
leaving.
learning to drive a
You guys
car
do that
that
first.
is that crazy, and for him to take it all the way to the top step of the podium
But
is
we're not
huge.
done yet.
And then
We're
back-to-back
not done
podiums
yet.
for
We still
Ian
got one more
Fournier
to
as
announce here,
well,
bud.
getting first place and second place here. It's awesome for him
Good
to do,
job,
with
car.
also a new build for him. So I
No one
mean,
else for
we
his
got a
car.
lot of
He did,
pretty
yeah. He
important.
good
What's
job,
that?
car,
It's
and
pretty
dumped some
important,
out over
right?
his car.
No
that
way.
was,
I've never seen that.
So I do have your
Sorry, Sean,
Poor
for
little
cutting you
car
off.
deserved it.
standings too.
But no,
After three intense rounds of
no, we sort of glossed over
competition.
who actually won each round. But
Finishing
yeah,
third
Gabriel,
overall for the year.
first time out, you know, and just driving got
197.
better. He had
Justin
a transmission
Dubé is
failure
your
at round
third
one,
place
and just sort
finisher.
of got knocked out early in competition, just learning the car really. I think there's been a lot of improvement in his driving ability. Sort of that same thing of, you know, the car driving him in round one, and in round two, and in round three, he really became, you know, driving the car and making it do what he wanted it to do. And you can see that his skill level also got him
Edit
right
that
to the
out.
top step of the podium. So, you know, great for him. Good camaraderie in that team too. They're the
Proud of you,
ones over
buds.
there too. Anybody who has a nice pit setup
Finishing
with
in
lots of tools,
second place
lots of
in
parts,
the overall
they're great
2024
to
standings with
just hand them out
211
freely. They
points
seem to be the guys that tend to
from
give
the
out the most
Triple S
things, and
Motorsports team.
no questions asked, right?
Aaron
Yeah,
Day
Ian,
is
long
your
time,
second-place finisher.
but he's been off drifting with us for a couple of years now, rebuilding the car, going to like a turbo V6, or no, turbo V8, isn't it? The 1UZ?
Your
Yeah,
champion,
another Nissan with Toyota power plant, as it always is.
with
But
200.
it's an odd Toyota power
Really
plant,
good.
though.
First time
You know, for
champion.
him to bring it out, and this is basically the
Marco
shakedown event,
Tassone
and to
is
get
your
it back
2024 Spec-D
weekend under track
champion.
conditions, pretty great. There you go.
And that's it. That's a wrap.
Yeah, another thing too
Oh
is
my goodness.
Dubé getting
We got
third
so many
with
people to thank. Thank you for all of the people
not
that
his
make
car,
this event
borrowed
possible.
car,
Vision
and then I
Raceway,
can't believe
Raptor
the
Raceway
spread
for hosting the
on
season
Aaron
this
and
year.
Marco,
All
like
of our
2 points.
glorious
I had
Spec-D
no
staff,
idea it'd be
media,
that close.
track staff, all of our people,
Oh.
Sean and Cecilia.
All in all,
Harder
an
for putting
exciting
this
year.
whole thing together. We couldn't have done
That,
it without
all the best to you,
judges.
Marco,
We
in the
couldn't
off
have done it
season.
without
Hopefully
our
we can make something
drivers.
happen,
You might have
and
been able to do it
and
without
get
me.
to see
But hey,
another
thank you very
one
much
of
for
our
making me a
Spec-D
part of it, and
drivers
that's,
out there in
Seatfield
FD. We
LBDJ.
obviously have Zendara
That's a wrap
Kennedy,
for the 2024
getting to
series.
be multiple
Thank
years
you for
in
joining us here at
FD
Mission
Pro Spec,
Raceway. That's a
and
sign-off for Spec-D, but
here
we still got
Jace
Strato Bash
Havich out there
coming on
doing
up
his
August
first year
31st
in
and
the Pro
September
Spec,
1st.
and it'd
Hope
be
to
great
you
to
guys
see
there.
you out there representing
Oh,
the Spec-D
that's a tire
crew
run,
out there,
man.
and
It's
having,
beer time.
you know, 3 of our
All
drivers
right.
driving in the Pro Spec
Bye.
series would be
I
awesome.
love you. Drive safely, make good choices.
We're
Tip your waiter.
working
Clean up your
on a
trash.
plan.
Be good to your mother. Call her sometime.
You know, if we can
Thank
put
you
together a
very
plan.
much. On behalf of
Obviously,
myself, the
guys,
Spec-D
you can't
staff,
like-
I've been Spec-D DK. I'm very tired one at that. Saying you
So
good night.
we can't
Thank
make
you
it
very
in this
much.
year.
Let's
Back
enjoy.
to Spec-D next year and work hard at it again and compete with these guys again and hopefully do it the year after. It's always been the dream. It's always been the goal. We just want to do it the right way. So fingers crossed we can put something together this year, but if not, we'll try again next year.
Excellent. No, sounds good. All right, with that, I'll let you go. And any closing words from you, John?
So, I'm
Alex
gonna add a
never
little
made
bit
it
more
on. I
pressure
guess
on
he didn't
you.
want to face the
Lost
heat, but we can all you can
but,
all
you're
crash
actually
in the
fine.
comments. Feel free.
Championship. How do you feel about that?
Find him on Instagram. Find him on his personal Facebook page, and just give him some hard times.
Yeah, it was good. Had a lot of fun.
For now.
I was thinking for this right here, should we maybe recap more on the actual whole event than just like where it was questionable judging calls?
Here last night. You weren't here? What the heck? You love
Sure,
it
what do
so
you wanna
much. Why were
say?
you here?
I don't know.
Watch the stream and give us your
That's-
feedback. It was awesome.
Tony's the guy that talks. I'm just throwing that out.
All right, Tony, jump in and give the recap. John never wants to leave. He's finally able to chat online, so now he just wants to keep it going.
So now we got him started. Yeah, you know, from my side, just wanted to add my congratulations there to Marco as well. I can't really think of a time at drifting where Marco hasn't been around. It's pretty cool to watch him come up from cone guy to champion guy. everything in between. So that was pretty sick to see Marco walk away with it. Pretty dope. It's a guy who is if he didn't have any bad luck, man, he wouldn't have any luck. So it definitely turned from his words. It's good to see come through. I'd like to see him. Love to see him back in Spec-D competition next year. See him been telling him, man, it's his time for a few years now. See it come good. Love to see him come back and just show us all that it's 100% real deal. Vent recap wise for myself, yeah, we needed a crazy Friday. We got a crazier Friday than I think we even really wanted. That led to an amazing Saturday. I think it was possibly the best event we've thrown at Mission Raceway at the end of a very, very hard and trying day on the Friday. So, huge shout out to the team, to the crews, to the drivers, to the mechanics of those crews to turn the cars around. Shout out to me for, getting the dress code wrong both days. We were supposed to be yellow on Friday and fancy shirts on Saturday, but inverse for all of it. But hey, you don't see me, you just hear me, so it's all good. And yeah, if you were watching, if you were in the house, that 20-minute, I don't know what it was on Friday, trying to introduce the driver's side. That was the most awkward 20 minutes, I think, of my announcing career ever. But man, I enjoyed every single moment of that train wreck that was that. And it was just great. Then it just bounced back from that. And I think, my side call the best two events I think I've had the pleasure of doing with the Spec-D Drift Series. Was great. Great driving by everybody. Great camaraderie. Great. It was a good vibe, man. It's always an awesome time at Mission. I have some of the unofficial Yay Drifting Awards for 2024. I have my hardest charger of the year is Justin Dubé. Best looking car is Carlton McDonald. Rookie driver of the year is my man Paulie G. And I think most inspiring moment definitely was the Triple S crew going out to help Jason Webb there in the time of need. That's your Gay Drifting Awards, from a nice throwback there for anybody who's followed drifting for as long as I have, because I'm a big nerd. And then finally, to sum it up, just want to give just another huge shout out to, obviously the Valley Tech guys here. They're the professional guys. They make it look good with their stream cameras, but I want to give a big shout out to Dustin, Dave, Lane, all of Spec Geek. They made our round one coverage absolutely amazing. I hope we can maybe get together in the wintertime and do maybe a watch party, all 3 rounds, one go. Because I know John loves to do these things, so maybe we can do one where we just watch the whole event and make comments the whole time. Just please, for my sake, let's watch it on mute.
We'll argue about it and complain. Yeah, I gotcha. No, yeah, big shout out for live stream was just a dream of ours a few years back, and we were always happy to go to Mission where Valley Tech was the professionals doing it, and then our guys decided, hey, you know what? We have so much brain power here. We'll just make it happen. And I'll give it out. Our one live stream was absolutely amazing. I'd say it was my favorite one. Date audio was great. Camera angles were great. Cuts awesome. So, more to come on our fabulous. What is it? The Spec-D Geek Squad. That's what they are. They can. Whatever.
Geek Corner.
Every other day, it's something new being fabricated in that chat, whether it's a practical idea or parts or pieces for something we talked about weeks ago showing up in reality. So it's not far before we get up to the quality that we want to be. It's just going to be a busy off season, I think.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, these guys are playing with computers and John's counting on his fingers. I love it.
7. Lucky number 7.
From the track workers here.
On that, anything else? We'll let. Good.
I think everybody's
good.
happy
Dustin,
in chat.
anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm happy with everything. It's been a pleasure to work with the team and make some slight improvements where we need to even help the show run quicker. So it's been awesome to be a part of everything. And yes, awesome driving to all the drivers this year. Only goes up from here. And Marco, already left. Congratulations on number 1 there. Hope to see you go down and battle the rest of the guys in Pro Spec. It'd be awesome to see a Spec-D takeover happening in FD eventually. So please make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Hey, and while we're just going to wrap up, if you made it this far, there is still tickets available for Strato Bash. We're going to do 2 days and a little bit, 2 full days and a little bit, 16 hours on track guaranteed over 2 days. So if you haven't got your ticket, get your ticket available on the Spec-D site. Maybe our Geek Squad will throw a link for it up here in the comments. Somewhere in the description of this video, you can put the link for our next big event, which is Stratobash. So comes in September long weekend. Than that, we got our regular Thursday night practices. Head over to spec-d.ca and find all the details on those dates, and we'll wrap it up there. With that, I'll say goodnight, and thank you, John. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Tony, for all your hard work in the tower. And obviously can't be with us, but he's behind the scenes doing everything from score input to lending out his fabulous competition ready drift car. And of course, Dustin for making all this happen, making it better than our Instagram Live with actual instant replay and microphones and headsets and all the cool stuff. So appreciate that. And, we will see you guys on the track.
Adios, everybody.